These are the pricing conversations that you must have if you want to take your side hustle to something serious. And I recommend it because you want to take yourself seriously. Because if you don't take yourself seriously, who's going to take you seriously? I mean, really. My name is Wong. I'm an occupational therapist and certified hand therapist. And over 10 years ago, I started my therapy clinic. And then over 5 years ago, I started Therapy Secrets, my online program to help therapists have more choices in their career. And having a business, having private clients is a choice. So this is a three-part series. This is part two of the three where I'm talking about pricing, and I'm sharing a conversation that I had with a friend of mine. Is she does yoga, and we had our conversation about pricing and about confidence, and I'm just breaking down the step-by-step things that I did to walk her through having her prices, like setting her prices, and then like getting on the call with the person. So pricing is energy, and you got to show up a certain way, and you have to show up confidently regardless of whether you feel confident or not. But you can play it, right? You can play that role until you become more confident, because it's not that you're not confident. You're confident, you're just not confident about having this particular conversation. So what is the pricing conversation that you must have? Well, first of all, I think it's really important. You have to pick a number that you're uncomfortable with, but you can still say without choking, right? So I'm like, what is your number? What is your number that you would, you feel nervous about, but you can actually say? So she told me her number. So I was like, great, let's just pretend. Let's pretend she said her number was 100. So for private one-on-one, let's just say for private one-on-one therapy, right? Private one-on-one sessions, I want to charge $100. That price makes me feel good for the work that I'm going to do, right? That price makes me feel like a little nervous in terms of saying it, but that's the amount that I want to make, right, for that. And I want to work with this person long term, so I don't want to just do a one and done. I'm looking to work with this person over a series of sessions, because just like in therapy, yoga, you don't get into your poses just at one time. You're working with someone through a series. So she's like, um, I want to have like certain packages. Now, here's the thing um, that I was noticing that she was doing, which is she was taking the price that someone else had. And then that person was also saying, well, this is my price, but I feel like this should be your price. So they were saying their price was 100, but they wanted her to be 65. But she's like, I'm really good at what I do. Take my time to study, I do my practice, and I show up the best, right? I know, I'm confident about my skill level. So I'm like, if you're confident about your skill level and you're not just this beginner, like you just started, put your price at where you feel uncomfortable saying, but knowing that this is what you ultimately want. Because again, if your energy is off, you can't have a really great conversation, right? So, um, one of the most important things that, when you pick that number, right, there's a certain level of confidence that you have to show up with. And so if you're not acclimatized to a premium price, then it can be really hard to just be like, I want to be premium and I want to be the most expensive, right? I'm going to share my story. I started at $75 for a session, an hour session, private, specialized as a certified hand therapist. Been doing my shit for 10 years, more than 10 years. I knew my shit. I knew what I was doing. I'm really good at what I do. And I listened to someone else when I first started, and that's okay. I listened to someone else. She told me her price was 65, and then I should price myself at 65, because nobody wants you, be honest, nobody wants you to do better than them, right? So that wasn't intentional, it's subconscious. So I was like, well, I need more than that. So I'm like, I'm going to charge 75. And she was like, well, I don't know if anyone's going to pay that. And I was like, oh shit, because in business, from taking yourself as a side hustle to being taken more seriously, you have to do the things that are uncomfortable. You have to be different. I was trying to be different. I thought that was different, but it wasn't that different. Fucking $10 did nothing, you know. What's the taxes? Anyway, so I started at 75, and then I started learning about pricing, and I started learning about, like, holy shit, I can't run a business at 75. I can't make any money. I can't hire. I can't run ads. I can't move into a new space. I can't buy new equipment, right? Like, this is just business. This is just business 101. So it depends on what you're trying to do, right? So I knew from where I was trying to go, I couldn't even pay for my classes, for God's sakes, right? So to learn more and be even better. So, you have to be careful about what you're listening to. But I started at 75, and then when I went to increase my prices, I increased it exponentially. I went to like 115. I was like, oh my God. But each time I went up like $50, 50 or $100, and now I'm a lot more than that, right? In my clinic, I'm a lot more than that. And getting to that number, I had to build up my confidence. I had to build up that energy that I was coming up with, right? It takes practice. It takes a commitment to practicing being in that uncomfortable position of saying what you need to say and have the conversation you need to have, right? So pick a number that you're uncomfortable with, but that you're willing to say. And then you have to have conversations around it, right? So think about, okay, I'm going to say this number. This is what we want. And I'm going to go into more step by step on my third video. But before I go into the very step by step, let me share with you a few don'ts, right? A few don'ts. And I think that if you want to take yourself seriously and have pricing conversations, you also have to pay attention to what not to do. What not to do is to discredit yourself. She was on this phone. I was sitting right next to her, discrediting herself. She is, and what do I mean by that? She was like, I am not this. You don't even have to say that. I am not a healthcare professional, and I'm not your doctor. Bitch, you didn't have to fucking say that. You didn't have to say that. Don't discredit yourself. When you're having those conversations, the money conversations, you might feel like you want to blab everything out. And what happens in that blabbing is somehow discrediting yourself, right? I think there's a certain amount of uncomfortableness in these conversations. Like we're trying to justify what we do. We're trying to justify ourselves. Don't justify. There's no need to justify. You're great. You're good. You know what you're doing. You know what you're talking about. You know that you can provide value to somebody. So don't discredit yourself by start talking about like I'm not the person to do this. I can't do that. Right? Stop yourself from justifying your worth. Well, I have X number of years of experience. I have X number of I've worked with this before, like you want to share stories of your success, but one of the things she was like, I know exactly, the person was saying, oh, like I have back injuries. And then she was like, oh, I have back injuries too. So that's a part of discrediting yourself. You don't have to say, I have that. You can say, I have worked with people who have that, right? Because you fix your back injuries because you did yoga, right? So, oh shit, it just comes back to discrediting yourself. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. I'm like, shut up. Why are you discrediting yourself? Right? There was no need for justification. There was no need for discrediting yourself, lowering yourself so that they would pick you for your prices, right? You want to talk to them about what they need, what they're looking for, what they're hoping to do with it. And if you can provide that, then that's what you provide, right? Take yourself seriously. Pricing it's about that energy. It's about taking yourself seriously. So whether you're starting out with that one patient right? One patient, one client, one customer, and you just want that person so bad. Take yourself seriously, and they'll take you seriously too, right? And yeah, it is about having those conversations. I do this all the time in my clinic because I have to train my staff on it. So I was literally just having a training session with her. It doesn't matter. It's the same thing, right? Same thing. All right. So stay tuned for part 3. I'm going to talk about the step-by-step process that I took her through to have the conversation that she had to have, because I was there when she had that sales conversation, right? You got to pick your price. So let's go into the step-by-step process in part 3. All right. All my links are below if you want to work with me. My name is Huang, and I'll see you in the next video.